Welcome back, everyone, to the Mortgage Heroes Weekly Podcast Show. I'm Andy.
And I'm Ryan.
And I'm Will.
So today, guys, we're actually going to talk about our family nonprofit, which is called Christian's Big Heart. There's a lot of new audience around, and not everybody knows, as far as this show's concerned, not everybody knows about Christian's Big Heart and why we do what we do. So today, we're going to talk about why you and Tanya started this. We're talking about what happened to Christian, what we're doing now, and then what we hope for the future. So let's kick off today's show by having you introduce and tell people Christian's story and how we got here.
Yeah, this is very different from our normal topics of, the mortgage industry and what's happened in the market. In this case, it's all about what we can do for our community, And so unfortunately, back in 2014, September 1st, we had our son Christian pass away. He came from college and went to sleep and just never woke up. It was one day shy of his 19th birthday. So one of the things that we've done is, I can't believe this, I'm already saying this is 9 years, guys. 9 years that we started this Christian's Big Heart. And so it's just crazy to think back on that. My son Christian, well, you pretty much grew up with him, Brian, and that's why it's still great to have you here with being a part of this. He was always playing football. You guys played football how many years together?
Probably like 5-6 years growing up. I mean, Pop Warner into high school and then just, being hooligans all their life.
He actually rode bikes. He ran track.
I think he played lacrosse for one semester.
He did. I mean, so this kid was just full of life, right?
Yeah.
He just actually would be out there. So you would never think he would have a heart issue.
Yeah.
You would never think that. When we saw him that weekend right before on Friday, we're like, Taya, were you expecting him to come? I'm like, looking at her, no. He just came home and, you see him so healthy. You see everybody so good. Like it's all these things, you're fine.
Yeah.
So we would never have thought like, hey, let's check you out.
Well, and there's part of this story where, he was home and he was not at school, and he could have been at school when this happened, but he ended up coming home. And I think looking back, this is one of those things where you're like, I don't know how to say this a different way, but it's like a blessing in disguise. Like, he was home when that happened. Yeah. And I know that at your house, like, he has his room at your house still, and like that's his room still. And that is challenging in one way, but he was also there at the time that happened. So in the end, what came to be known about his heart was it was an undiagnosed enlarged heart. Yeah. And that led to him passing away in his sleep. Leading away from that, though, I mean, first of all, it was a surprise to everyone in the family, and everyone was devastated, of course. And then we all don't know what to do, and the words mean nothing. Like, what can I do to help you? Oh yeah, we love you. So it's like, we can't change anything. And I remember when I actually found out, I didn't find out initially from you. My parents were visiting other family up in LA, and my mom called me and she said, Andy, Christian passed away. And I just like, boom, I hit my knees. I just started crying. And I remember, like, I called you and I said, I was crying. I was like, Memo, I don't know what to do. Yeah. Tell me what to do. And he said, bring back my son. I was like, I can't do that. Oh. And I was like broke, and I started crying. It's making me cry right now. Like, I can't do that. And I remember telling you, like, I can't do that, and I don't know what to do. Yeah. And so for me and for other people in our family, like, this is it's really important to do this and make this worthwhile for not only our kids that we have that are of age for getting heart screenings, but also to remember Christian and do something in his honor, and to help other families to find out if there's something under the surface that they aren't aware of. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry I ever said that, right? It was just at the moment.
Well, no.
I know it was a painful thing.
And I mean, looking at from doing everything growing up, as friends, walking the streets, going to the mall, having sleepovers at your house, going to Six Flags in the Hummer, going to the water parks, doing all that fun stuff. Even up until the last day of his life, we were all together. And ultimately, the message that Christian always, instilled in everybody is that he brought people together.
Yes.
It's a big heart for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that day clearly. I could still...
Same.
I still remember when our son, I walked in and it was, what is it, Labor Day?
Yeah.
Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend. Yeah. I had an appointment. And so I walked into Ashton's room. And Ashton at this time is, I want to say he's like 8 or 9 years old. And so he was going to go wake up Christian. And Tanya's like, no, I got it. And so I went downstairs to go about my business. I actually play Xbox. I was trading my players on FIFA. So I turned it on and I'm like, I passed by Christian's door and I said, I'll talk to you later, because I knew he came late and he missed dinner with his grandma because he was out with you guys, what have you, right? But then I hear this distinctive yell. And it was, Mom, it's so unfortunate, especially for a mom to find their son, and that's when the nightmare started. Yeah. And that's where, everything is just at that moment in time. You just don't know what to do. So, I'm telling you, my hearts go to any parent that has lost their son. I know what that pain is. I know what we go through. And it's just, the best metaphor I can use is we carry a ball and chain. And we're going to carry that ball and chain for the rest of our lives. We just learn how to deal with the weight of that ball in a different way every day. After going through all this is when we know Cristian's got a big heart.
Yeah.
And he does. And that's why we call it now his nonprofit, Cristian's Big Heart Run.
Yeah.
And that kid was all about his community, his friends. He would go out of his way for anybody.
Yeah.
If he see an older lady needing, he'd be in an intersection. He saw her that needed help. He was the kind of kid that will pull over, make sure that who cares about their day. He's going to go out of his way to make sure that person crosses that walkway safely,
Yeah, 100%.
So that's our son. That's our boy, And so that's why we came up with this. And then so fortunately, we happen to hear EP Save a Life. Just like the name says it, EP Save a Life, I feel like they saved our lives.
Yeah.
They gave us a purpose. They gave us a cause. Like, how do we go and support this wonderful group?
Yeah.
Rena and Hector Perez, they lost their son, Eric Perez, 2009, to sudden cardiac arrest. I couldn't combine forces with a better partner than that.
And I think it's a beautiful, how do I say, a combination, because at the same time, it's like whenever you feel like, how can I make a difference? What can I do to, at least do something for people cannot go through this? Like, what can I do?
Correct.
What can I do to fill the void that you have? And I feel that EP was like that void, that what filled that void and gave you the purpose to go out there and literally, like, you're a community, like, protector.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like they had their arms wide open to embrace you and welcome you in your time of like greatest hurt and loss and not knowing what to do, and then that transition. So for those of you who are hearing about Eric Perez Save Life Foundation for the first time, they are the group who does they do a number of things, first of all, but first and foremost, what they're most well known for is the free heart screenings throughout San Diego County for teenagers aged 12 to 25. So if you've ever seen them on the news or you've seen footage of one of their events that held 6 times throughout the year, this is where teenagers in San Diego can come get a free heart screening. So if you're a parent listening to this, you can bring your adolescent child to one of the heart screenings if they're ages 12 to 25 and get a free heart screening and see what's going on underneath the surface. And we'll talk a little bit about some of what those data have revealed over the course of the years. But anyone interested in looking up more about EP Save a Life, you can look up epsavealife.org, and the website will be in the description box below.
We'll put it on here.
But let's talk really quickly about what Cristian's Big Heart has done stat-wise, and then I want to talk about what EP Save a Life, because this is where that partnership kind of blends, and there's the meeting of the minds, and there's intersections in that. So this is our 9th annual event, which is weird to say that because it's like
unreal.
It still feels like yesterday, but it's also I know it's not yesterday. We've raised and donated $317,000 so far. It? Now that doesn't include anything this year, but $317,000 through 2022.
Yeah.
And then our goal this year is $70,000. Yeah. Now, that's going to come with a variety of things like sponsorships, donations, and registrations online from individuals. But really, this is now also the year where we're pivoting from it being Cristian's Big Heart 5K online, like a virtual race, into what is now just going to be called Cristian's Big Heart Month, where the entire month of August is to recognize Cristian and raise money for sudden cardiac arrest here locally in San Diego.
Exactly. Make it a month. Let's make it an awareness month for it. Mm-hmm. Before it was just, hey, let's make that 5K now. Like, let's take it bigger. Like, let's really set our stamp of approval here in our community and really put this information out there.
Yeah.
So whereas before we're pushing towards the end of the month, Cristian's run is coming.
Right.
Now it's going to be, what? It's a whole month, but at the same time, like, let's give this information throughout the year. Again, we're so fortunate to have such a great partnership with EP Save a Life that they do 6 free heart screenings throughout the year, guys.
Yep.
Right? So at that any point in time, and a lot of people who's watching this, they've seen me. We're always there volunteering. We want to make sure that we're always supporting them, not only monetarily, but we want to put our presence there.
Yeah.
We want to physically be there.
Yeah. We're in this together with them.
Absolutely.
And along with all the donors' help that, has helped, fund all the heart screening, the AEDs, if you can't donate, the word of mouth, go tell somebody that can, go tell somebody that could, help out, make a difference, because even spreading the word to the right people will help us create that, that awareness. Will help us create that, that maybe you can't donate, but a sphere of influence of people that, can help out and are willing to help out because either they've been impacted by this, or that they have kids and it means something to them to be able to be part of something like this. Because me as a father having, a 1-year-old son, another one on the way, for me, it's like, it's devastating hearing your story, and let alone knowing that this is a possibility or something that can happen to anyone and has happened.
Absolutely.
It just makes me think, like, why isn't this something that we're taking a huge caution on, a huge, how is it that we're not giving this the attention that needs to be done without, it being something that, should be given to you because of the fact that look at the impact that we're making, and look at the families that go through the tragedies because of this one thing.
And I think there's a couple of really good primary examples of reprioritizing this conversation that happened recently. I mean, I know last year during the NFL season, you saw DeMar Hamlin, what happened with that, and then even just recently, you saw LeBron James' son had a cardiac arrest. At the age of 18, is he 18 or 19?
18 or 19. How young is that?
That's that same age that Cristian was.
And that's just to tell you guys. So here's the irony of all of it. Back in 2017, for Dylan's birthday, we actually took him and a few friends of his to see the Cavs, LeBron James versus, the Lakers. Yeah. So we were there. And the irony, which is crazy, and we'll share the picture.
Yeah, you'll see in this picture right here on your screen, you'll see Dylan here on the left, and then Bronny James right there on the right, LeBron's son.
The irony, one that lost a brother to a heart issue, and one that years later down the line will actually
had that heart issue. So crazy.
And it just goes to show that no matter what situation of life, where you are, who you are, what you are, this can happen to anybody at any time. It's not like it chooses one person, it chooses one type of no. Everybody across the board.
Sudden cardiac arrest still remains the number one cause of death among student athletes.
Yep. Yeah.
No matter what. Mm-hmm. Number one cause of death. And it's the number one cause of death in the nation.
100%.
So that's why they call SCA, sudden cardiac arrest, a silent killer. You just don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. And if there's not an AED around, trust me, the likelihood of you surviving that is not going to be very likely.
Yeah, I don't have the stat, and I don't want to get fact check on this by the fact checkers.
There you go.
We can post that later. But you're right in that it's a very low percentage. The more the time goes on without AED or CPR, the less and less your chance of survival.
Absolutely.
But that's a good pivot though, because I want to talk about what EP Save a Life is doing now and what we're going to try to be doing next with them. And part of that includes when you go to a heart screening, your student goes through CPR training and also AED demonstration of how the AED works. And most people are unaware. I want to take a minute to say this. If you're watching this and you've seen the sign AED machine, like in public, most public places are required to have an AED now. But if you see AED and it's got the little sign and the arrow right here, the machine will actually give you instructions on what to do. Yeah. So you open up the machine and it has printed instructions, but also has auditory instructions, and it tells you how to apply the little tabs, what to do, and then when to push buttons and when to hit step back and all that. So it's very easy to follow, and there's tutorials, and we can share that stuff later. But
and it's not like the movies, right? Like where you put a defibrillator.
No, it's not that. No,
you can shock somebody else.
Yeah, it's not that.
It only works if there's a heart problem. If it detects an abnormality there, then that's how it works. Otherwise,
you ain't getting shocked.
You ain't getting shocked.
Got it.
So real quick, let's go through some of the Eric Perez Save a Life stats today. Now, this is the organization that all of our money, all that $317,000 that we've raised goes right to Eric Perez. We do not take a single penny for Christian's Big Heart. All of the money we raise goes right to them. They have screened 38,389 teens here in San Diego.
Sorry, that's a clap right there.
They've identified 607 abnormalities. Now, remember, abnormalities means these were unknown prior to screening. Yeah. This is a student who you would look at and go, that person's healthy. There's nothing wrong. They have have no prevailing ailments that would indicate that there's anything going on the surface. 260 though at risk. At risk, which is at any moment in time there could be a sudden cardiac arrest event.
Absolutely.
That's how it's defined by the stages of the process here. And then also our combined efforts have allowed placement for 187 AEDs around town, additional AEDs, and that is the equivalent of 1,816,130 additional hearts protected.
Let's go.
By being in those places that have that many people walking through and by them. So,
Unreal.
I see here also, I forgot this part. They also track how many folks that they've oriented to the call push shock, which is the how to use CPR and AED that I was mentioning. That's 57,609 people. So
that is a game changer, guys.
100%.
Listen, if we're not part of a community and part of a better partnership, I don't know what else is. But this is changing lives. This
100%.
is really changing and making a difference in our community.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm most proud of, and I feel blessed to have people like our supporters, our donors that since day one, we have donors from day one. They've been supporting our cause all throughout. Yeah. And Andy, thank you for sharing this. $317,000 donated from Christian's Big Heart.
That's a lot of money.
That's that's quite a bit of money, And so when we're talking to mortgages, usually it takes you 30 years to pay something like that. So we've done this, 8 years.
Just really quick to put that into context, based on like an average cost for doing a heart screening, there's actual operational overhead on the admin side for the nonprofit. That covers more than 12,500 screenings. Yeah. So that $317,000 provides over 12,000 screenings for teenagers here in San Diego. So when you're donating and you're contributing, and even when you're registering or sponsoring, this is literally making direct impact in the lives of people. And we've had friends of ours who have brought their adolescents and their teenagers through the heart screening and found something that needed to be followed up on. So this has actually hit home in a couple of different regards over the last several years that we've been doing this. And
one of our greatest sponsors that was from day one, I don't want to say luckily, but it's kind of like a bittersweet moment, but one of their sons, because of their sponsorship and because of their support, they're aware of this. So when their son was experienced the blue lips and just that fatigue and stuff, immediately they took him to Children's Hospital and they found out that he had a heart issue.
Right. Yeah.
That's right there. And that is just crazy because Tanya went to elementary school with that sponsor. Right. I can't say any names, but it's just crazy how just that alone was able to save that life. Yeah, there.
That interconnectedness part is
because of the awareness.
100%.
And also when things get this big and they have that much momentum, that much reach. I mean, this is now hitting the news every single August. You're on the news. Tanya's on the news. Sometimes it's you and me. Eric Predis is always on the news every time they do a heart screening. Also. If you have not yet heard it yet and you're an iHeartRadio listener, you're going to hear advertisements with Tanya and Memo on the radio in English and or Spanish.
And Spanish. I tried my Spanish, okay? It may not be the best, but I try to do my best.
So there's actually becoming much more presence and prominence, and the discussion is elevated. So to your point earlier in the show about, why isn't this more important? It's becoming much more important. It's becoming more prevalent, and people are starting to take notice, and we got to do something about it, and which is what we're now going to go do.
One of the things that stood out for me is that 807 families that got an opportunity, 807 families that got closure, 807 families that got to keep their family member with them and not go through the nightmare that unfortunately we all went through. That to me is really thankfully to all the donors and everybody that just passes the word on, that just supports, that is part of this community. You guys just saved 807 people, and we're on the verge of saving even more people.
Yep. Well, so we'll go to the next thing about what we're going to do next. But if you are listening to this and you are either a sports coach or you're in the medical community or you work in education, there are actually 3 new partnerships alongside us that are helping do training and sudden cardiac arrest awareness in town. They are called Keep Their Heart in the Game, which is for sports communities. They've already trained 38,381 people.
Unreal.
Prescription for Prevention for Medical Professionals has trained 865 medical professionals. So each one of those people is seeing how many X times of people in their place of work every single day, every week, every month, every year. That's a multiplier there.
Yeah.
And then Smart Hearts Don't Miss a Beat, which is for student training, 1,500 people. So these are all programs that are available through EP Save a Life. Your money's donated go to those causes as well. And again, cumulatively, that's over 40,000 other people that have been trained in town to affect impact when sudden cardiac arrest might be lurking.
I'm telling you, when you feel you don't have support, that's where we're so blessed. We have that support.
100%.
We were able to raise what we're raising. We're able to be a part of all this because of the support that we have. We couldn't do it alone. Trust me.
Mm-hmm. We don't do it alone. There's no way.
You know, so we're so grateful to all our sponsors, all the people that just go in there. We're so blessed to have the people already register their kids.
Yeah, right.
You know, usually I'm the guy that checks them in. I'm like, hey, Brian, how you doing today? And they're so young, right? They're like taking their boogers from their eyes, you know, the eye boogers out of their eyes. And my mom woke me up. But, that's great. Let's go in there. It's going to be fast. And they learn how to do CPR. They learn what an AED is. Then they do an echocardiogram. If there's any family history or anything, we go beyond that. We'll end up doing an echo.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's cardiologists, doctors. They're like, guys, what you saw, you went through it. I made everybody that's part of my group and my family. I pretty much force them.
That's facts.
All our kids
I'm glad you said force because it's damn near close. but just to your point, the passion behind how much you want us to know, hey, go through it. And for me, the first time that I went through it, it is, you know, at times a little bit scary. It's kind of like anxiety, like, hey, what are they going to say? Is there something wrong with me? I don't know. And once you really, you know, go through it, the people there are very helpful. They're very insightful. You know, they're letting you know along the way what's happening and why they're doing it and giving you the reassurance that everything that they're doing is to give you the solution or give you the opportunity to have the right information. Once you go through it, I mean, the doctors are right there reading your results and they tell you like, oh, you're good. Like, and that right there is
peace of mind.
Exactly. Peace of mind. Like you just leave. So many times when I do it every single time, I'm always anxious, but then after I'm like, I'm good. Like I'm good. It gives you that peace of mind. And especially for parents, even if your kids are, you know, whining, don't want to do it. Honestly, it's so worth it because the peace of mind, the assurance you get is worth everything.
And in case it's not obvious, the reason that the heart screenings are occurring, everyone listening and watching, is because this is not a normal part of the protocol for an annual physical for teenagers and young adults. And that is actually where we're trying to go next.
Correct.
So out of all of this, the story of Cristian, meeting up with Eric Perez Save a Life, raising money, doing this together in the community, working hand in hand, expanding the training, this is all leading to what is actually now the California Youth Heart Coalition. And so the California Youth Heart Coalition is groups like ours that are coming together to not only continue and push a little further into the education part of bringing sudden cardiac arrest awareness to students, but also making impact at a policy level and legislative level, not only in CIF, in the medical professional, but also in state law. So we're really trying to ultimately, long term, we want to see that this process that all of these students go through for free is part of their medical follow-up and treatment every single year.
That's right. Yeah. So part of your physical, before you step foot into any field, it will be mandatory. And that's what we're trying to do, mandatory, that you do a heart screening. You know, that way we really know that. Because again, sudden cardiac arrest, the symptoms are, you know, dizziness, dehydration. People could think, oh, you're dehydrated.
Lightheaded, tired.
You know what I mean? And then you got to also remember, a lot of these kids are already born with that. So here's a coach telling them, come on, you can do it. Hustle. Overexert yourself, hustle, right? But they don't know that kid actually is hustling. In his mind, that's what he's used to. Hustle, it means exactly what he's doing. But to some of us that don't understand that, you know, and don't have that issue, they look at it like, yo, you can hustle. Come on, dude.
There's more in the tank maybe. But
That's it. So these are all the great things that we're just trying to do. Because remember, again, sudden cardiac arrest does not discriminate, like you said earlier. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are. It doesn't matter how broke you are. It doesn't matter any of that.
Doesn't know any of that.
Just not going to discriminate, you know?
Well, and I think so, you know, for those of you who are wondering, like, you know, okay, what's going to happen next and how can we be involved? There's a lot of ways to do that. Not only can you reach any of us and talk to us about that, but you can reach us at christiansbigheart.org, which is Christian CR, no H. So christiansbigheart.org. You can reach ericperezsavealife.org directly. And then we will have more updates and information coming up soon about the legislative efforts to try to get this into the medical system as part of normal protocol, not something that we have to do as a nonprofit in the community to bring people heart screenings and bring the medical professionals to the public. We'd like really to see this ultimately become something that is just part of that protocol naturally and part of the process.
Yeah, I guess the way I look at it is we're all a parent. Like, and if you have no kids, you're an uncle or you're an aunt. You know, and we're grandparents. So it doesn't matter who you are. As long as there's kids, and that's our youth, that's our future, we have to fight for them. Because I know as I gotten older, it's not no longer about me. It's more about them. It's about the kids. And then I just recently became a grandpa. So guess who it's all about now? Now my kids actually feel jealous because I have the tendency, hey, Eliana. Oh, sorry, Devin, there you are.
No, and being a young dad, I mean, it starts with everybody that's listening to this. Everybody that, you know, has experienced something like this. Don't be a silent, you know, protector. You know, voice your opinion. Talk about it. Have the tough discussions. Have those talks with your family, and ultimately let them know that these things do happen. But there is things that you could put in place to have, you know, the right help when these situations occur. So I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, ask everybody to spread the word, donate if you can. And if this is something that really means something to you, definitely show up and show your support, because we're not going anywhere, and we're going to be taking the fight to whoever needs to get this fight, because we believe in this cause.
And I guess when we're talking about support, it's not always just monetary, right? It's not. Our support means bring them to a heart screening. If you have a child, a nephew, and they're between those ages of 12 to 25, just tell them August 20th, we have a heart screening here at Montgomery High School. We have one right there. Register. Put them in there. Walk with them and bring them.
Experience it for yourself.
That's it.
Like, experience it for yourself. And I want to say, get out there if you have the opportunity. If not, like you said, well, they do six a year, so you definitely don't have an excuse to not miss one. And reach out to us so we can give you more information, because honestly, this is something that we are looking to make a difference, and we have.
And so everything we talked about in today's show will be have links in the show description. So about Christian's Big Heart, Eric Perez Save Life Foundation. Memo mentioned that the next heart screening is on Sunday, August 20th, 2023 at Montgomery High School. There will be a link if you want to register and you're watching or listening to this. There'll be a link in the description where you can click on that and register someone you love as well. And then again, post show, if there's something that you would like to talk to us about, or maybe there's a connection you have that would benefit what our cause is, please step forward and let us know. And also, if you see a fit for what we're doing in the community to something you're connected to professionally or hobby or interest-wise, please let us know what those things are so we can seek opportunities to continue educating people and protecting more hearts here.
Absolutely. We're looking out for sponsors, too. If you know of any people that would fit exactly that mold, that I want to be a part of this community here in Eastlake, San Diego, perfect fit. Put them right there so that we could all make a difference together in the community. And look at this wonderful shirt. You know, there's no way of what team he was one of his favorite teams. Right? I'm not trying to say anything, but
question.
Here we are.
It's our community. Let's take care of it.
It's our community. I like that.